Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I am your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Stevie Buckets.
Oh, we're recording now?
Yeah.
Can we start over? I don't want to be vaping and stuff. I thought you were just like a practice run.
First things first, thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use, and thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, it's info@realrecoverytalk.com, and ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message, right, Buckets?
Absolutely.
Are you upset that I didn't restart?
Not really.
It's good. It's like, it shows your true self.
Yeah, casual.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Your addicted self to vapes.
I'm completely addicted. I used it to get off of cigarettes, and that was at this point about 12 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's funny that you bring that up because that was kind of one of my topics.
Interesting. I didn't know you had a topic.
Yeah. I got an email question, and the question, I don't have it pulled up, but the question was something along the lines of quitting other things in conjunction with drugs and alcohol. So when somebody enters into treatment or they enter into recovery, a lot of times people want to change everything.
Exactly.
And I oftentimes tell people, let's try and quit one thing at a time.
That's what they told me when I went into detox.
So were you in a position to where you wanted to quit multiple things?
Well, not really, because when I came into treatment, my last time, God willing, when I walked in at the time, all I was doing was just smoking crack. I was spending all my money on crack. I didn't have any money for cigarettes.
Crackle, yeah.
But I didn't know I was going to be smoking cigarettes in detox. So I got a couple packs of cigarettes before I went into detox.
So are you one of the ones that kind of took on another addiction while you were in treatment?
No, well, it's not really, because I was still smoking for years beforehand. I just stopped for a period of time.
So when you went into detox, you bought...
I had packs of cigarettes. I mean, it wasn't, when I say, it was only for a little, went towards the end where literally all my money was going to drugs. You know what I'm saying? But before that, probably maybe I can't even put a time on it, but I was addicted to cigarettes. I just stopped for a period of time because drugs was just literally all I would do. I'm talking I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't buy anything but drugs. So that's where I was at.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to do detox, and I knew I needed cigarettes.
When did you stop the cigarettes after you got clean?
I think I was 2 to 3 years clean, and I remember I was getting my an infected tooth that led to my wisdom teeth having to be taken out, and it'd be a perfect time to quit smoking because I did really, really want to quit smoking for a while, and I tried to knuckle it, and I try to just quit on my own, by my own devices, if you will, and that wasn't happening. To keep it real, even going to meetings and stuff like that, it was very easy to be even if I'm I'm not buying a pack of cigarettes, 90% of the meeting would be smoking cigarettes. This is before vaping and stuff like that. So I'd be like, oh, okay, I can get a cigarette, you know, and so I was fooling myself. I wasn't ready. I finally says, all right, I'm gonna get my wisdom teeth out. You're not supposed to smoke cigarettes when you get your wisdom teeth out due to what was it, dry sockets or something? And plus, it could lead to infection. So they say you can't smoke. So I'm like, perfect. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? I got them all out at one time with the mouth surgery. I'm just a perfect reason to quit cigarettes.
What kind of cigarettes did you smoke?
Marlboro 27, smooth, rich, and mellow.
Are those the short ones? Were they the shorter ones?
They're not the short ones, but they're not the 100s. They have the copper.
Yeah.
Tin box. It says smooth, rich, and mellow right on it.
Wait, the box was tin?
Not tin, but it had a tinnish look
the
to
color.
it. You people at home know what I'm talking about. Yes, the color of copper, of beautiful copper.
What do you think I smoked?
Reds.
Oh yeah,
I like reds. Were if I couldn't get 27s or whatever, I'd go. I'm a red man.
You weren't did you ever get down with menthols or no?
Sometimes.
Ugh.
Sometimes.
Remember the Camel Crushes?
I liked those.
Yeah.
They were fun.
Yeah, it was
crush
kind of
them.
a weird
Added element
concept.
to it. I had a drug dealer one time. It was interesting. I said he was smoking a cigarette. And I said, "Hey, can I get a cigarette?" And he looked at me funny. And I'm like, "Well, I can't." And he's like, "These aren't cigarettes. These are Newports." I said, "Ah, interesting." I don't know. I just was a weird, and apparently in the drug dealer community, Newports, they didn't consider that cigarettes.
Oh, it's like in a league of its own.
Yeah, it's a league of its own, apparently, like menthols. But I'd have a Newport, depending on the substance I was on at the time, you know.
I worked at a restaurant, one of my very first jobs. I was 16. I worked at a place called the Bessemer Diner.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady would smoke, oh, dang, what were they called? They were the super long.
Virginia Slims?
Yes,
Yeah.
Virginia Slims. And she would light a cigarette. And I only worked weekends, I think Saturdays and Sundays. And I would get there at like 6 in the morning and work until like, it was like a breakfast lunch place, you know? So I'd be out of there by 2, you know? Well, she would come in every weekend at like 8, 9 o'clock, and she would sit in the same seat every weekend and order coffee, 2 eggs, 2 pieces of toast. And she would eat her eggs, eat her toast, and she would legit smoke a whole pack of Virginia Slims in about the 2 hours that she would sit there. She would sit there and like read the paper and stuff like that.
That's hardcore.
But she would only take like 2 or 3 hits off of each cigarette and then would put it out.
Interesting.
And then, you know, a minute or 2 later would light another one. I'm like, what in the world? And so then I started taking them, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go empty the ashtrays, you know, and end up with like a pack of Virginia Slims pretty much. And so I was
smoked.
Yeah, smoking those. Yeah. Imagine me smoking Virginia Slims.
I can't picture it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they still made those. I went to...
Well, I was 16.
Yeah, fair
or
enough.
15 maybe, even younger. I might have been even younger, actually. No, I was younger because I was working at the car dealership at 16. So I must have been like 13 or 14.
Smoking your Virginia Slims.
Yeah. Well, and before that, I would smoke like hollow sticks.
I don't know what those are.
Just sticks that are hollow.
Oh, literally hollow sticks.
Yeah, that you find in the woods and stuff,
smoke
you know?
them?
Yeah.
You guys did your own thing there in the Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah. We, you know, smoke whatever you can. If it burned, we smoked it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Just try it out. That was like that, but
Did you ever smoke matches? Did you ever light the matches and huff the...
No, but I do like the smell of matches. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do that. What else did we used to smoke? A bunch of things. Anyways, point is that this email was rather intriguing because we don't talk about this a lot. A lot of times people, you know, come into treatment or they enter into recovery and they look at, and I did this myself, they view it as an opportunity to change everything about themselves. You know, myself, I flew from Pennsylvania to Florida, you know, and I had the idea of, okay, I'm going to go down there and stop drinking for a period of time anyway. But then when I came to West Palm Beach, so I went to treatment, the listeners know this, but I went to treatment in Jacksonville and then flew to West Palm Beach after 45 days. When I came to West Palm, I knew that West Palm was kind of going to be my place of stay, at least for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I remember distinctly thinking to myself, I can do whatever I want. And with that came kind of recreating myself. And so, I mean, I have a jacket on now because it's kind of cold. I mean, it's 70, but it's cold to me now, you know?
It was rainy today too.
Yeah. But I have a sleeve of tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any I had a couple of tattoos, you know, prior sobriety, but I got a sleeve of tattoos because it was one of those things. Oh yeah, I want to get a tattoo. You know, it felt good. It felt like cool, you know?
Yeah.
Next thing I know, my whole arm's sleeved. You know what I mean?
I do.
Oh, I wanted to, you know, eat better. Now this kind of happened a little bit, probably about maybe 9 months or a year into my sobriety. I wanted to try being a vegan. You know,
that's funny.
And I became a vegan for 2.5 months, Steve.
Just figuring it out.
Yeah. You know, just, you know,
seeing what fit.
Yeah. And it sucked. It was horrible. I mean, it was awful.
I could see that not being
I've
fun.
shared that story multiple times on the podcast, but you know, point is that like, but we tell people all the time, and I get this, you know, because we do the pre-admissions and stuff when people are coming into treatment, and they're like, oh, and one of the questions is, do you smoke or use nicotine? And a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, I do, but I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit when I come over there. You know, I've already ordered the patch or the nicotine gum or whatever the case is. And I'll tell them right on the phone, why don't you forego that for now?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say, one, because I don't even know you and you may not be a nice person when you're coming off of nicotine. And I don't really want to get that impression of you right out of the gate.
Get extra edginess. Stuff is hard enough as it is.
It's hard enough as it is. So keep smoking. That's the only time I'm going to condone smoking.
100%.
Is, you know, if you're trying to quit drugs and alcohol at the same time. I mean, it makes sense.
No, it does, because it's, I don't know. It is, for me, nicotine withdrawal sucks. I mean, I've been through multiple different times of withdrawals. I'm not going to say it's worse than that. That'd be absurd. But as someone who's become very delicate now in my normal life, you know what I mean? That's, you know, with withdrawing, like I've tried a cold turkey nicotine frequently over my, 14 years clean, and it sucks a lot. I end up eating a lot. I can't sleep. I'm edgy. This is not to discourage any from quitting, by all means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And quit. Like I'm planning to quit vaping too, you know? But it sucks.
Yeah, there's a few things that people generally try and change about themselves when they get clean. And I why don't you start and name one?
Say it again.
Like the things that people, you know, when they enter into treatment, they enter into recovery, you know, okay, yeah, I'm stopping the drugs, I'm stopping the alcohol, but I'm also going to change this about myself.
Eating healthy.
Yeah.
That's
eating healthy is a big one. Now, there's a vast difference between eating healthy and jumping on some sort of fad diet. Oftentimes what ends up happening is they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to start eating healthy. And what healthy eating means to them is I'm going to go vegan, or I'm going to go carnivore diet, or I'm going to go keto.
As addicts and alcoholics, we look for the extremes.
Right.
You know, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like, why don't you, rather than saying, okay, I'm going to eat healthy, which in turn means I'm going to go on a keto diet, why don't you just maybe cut out soda to start?
That's huge.
Know? Cut out some of the processed stuff. Not even all the processed stuff, just some of it.
Cut out Uber Eats.
That's a great one.
Make your own food. Even if
that's an even better one.
I feel like lunch meat it's processed and stuff, so it's not the best, but I mean it's better than Uber Eats. Make a turkey sandwich for lunch every day is way better than
Boar's Head turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
it's
honey roasted turkey.
Much better than.
I'm not a turkey guy, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm more of the. I mean, I like salami, and that's like the worst. Salami and cheese?
Salami and Swiss cheese.
Oh, no. Not Swiss.
Swiss is the best.
No. Get out of here with those holes in it. What are those holes from?
I don't know. I like the holes.
Really? Do you like put your fingers in them?
Not so much anymore, but when I was a kid, it was fun.
You got your Swiss cheese on one hand, and then you got your black olives on your fingers.
Make it a mask. Look at my little brother. Kind of, scare him.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm more of a cheddar or American.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kraft American cheese.
I like all cheeses.
Yeah, Kraft isn't really cheese. It's cheese product.
Yeah,
is what they call it.
Yeah, it's like legally they have to call it.
Yeah,
cheese product.
But no, I think that's good. Cut out the Uber Eats and maybe make your food. And not only is that going to benefit you from a health perspective, but it's also going to benefit you financially.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen me even do this. Like, I take a rotisserie chicken from Publix, pre-killed And you don't have to do much. Free, they take all the feathers off. They make it real easy for you. They grill it up or whatever they do, rotisserie it themselves. And I'll rip it apart and throw it in some of the white rice, you know? It's
Can I
easy.
share a secret with you?
Please.
You know Costco? Oh, you don't have a Costco membership.
I don't.
Oh, my gosh. You need to get one.
Okay.
Costco, number one, their rotisserie chickens are better and they're cheaper.
In Publix?
Yes. Yeah, hands down.
I'm a pub head.
Nope.
I'm from Florida.
And rather than having to buy the rotisserie chicken, they sell packages of rotisserie chicken breast meat already cooked. And they package it up, and you get probably like 3 or 4 pounds of it. They vacuum seal it, and then you just buy that. So you don't have to buy a rotisserie chicken, take it home, and then get your freaking hands all like that. That part I don't like. It's tearing it apart.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing. I did not know about this.
Yeah. I've been telling you to get a Costco membership forever.
You have said that, yes.
Even though like everybody's like, oh, it's like for families and stuff like that. That's not true.
That's what I thought.
The thing you have to be careful with about Costco is whatever you go in there for, you never leave with. Just leave with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you may go in there for a package of this rotisserie chicken and end up leaving with a, expandable ladder.
Just something. Whatever. Just like this, I'll need this at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that recently. We went there for just our typical grocery and ended up leaving with a Nintendo Switch. Crazy.
Nice. Yeah,
Talk about impulsive. Like I
need this.
I didn't walk into that store thinking that I needed any sort of gaming system. As a matter of fact, I don't even like gaming systems. And we walked past it. They had the Nintendo Switch there, the PlayStation, and the Xbox. And dude, it's the craziest thing. I saw it and it popped into my mind. Oh, this is cool. Let's buy this. And then I go to Amanda. I'm like, hey, this can be the Christmas gifts, part of the Christmas gifts. And then my son sees it and it's like, forget it. It's definitely got to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up buying the Nintendo Switch, but it's pretty fun. Mario Kart,
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you have one?
I don't have one.
Oh.
But I've played it before.
Oh, you can come over and play.
Sweet.
Yeah, we'll have a Mario Kart party.
I haven't played Mario Kart in some years, but I remember being very awesome at it. So
yeah,
I'll destroy everyone.
Nah, I'm pretty good. We played it on N64.
That's what I played it on.
Yeah. It's a learning curve though, because you got to figure out like how to, the buttons and all the tricks.
It's a little different now.
Yeah, it is.
From my understanding.
The other thing is that, so we talked about you brought up the food, the healthy eating. I think that definitely is the case, and that's great advice. But the exercise component of it, we see a lot of times, especially with our young men in particular, they enter into recovery. And again, if you're a family member or a loved one listening to this, these are things that you can watch out for. If you have a son or a daughter that is in recovery or they're in treatment, maybe transitioning home, or they didn't go to treatment, but they're attending meetings and they're still living underneath your roof. If you pick up on these things, they're not necessarily bad. I want to say that, but it can be a red flag in the sense of like, hey, maybe just slow down a little bit. So we see a lot of times with young men, they've spent years most likely drinking and drugging. They want to start eating healthy and they want to start exercising, going to the gym. Next thing you know, they're going to the gym 6-7 days a week, 3 hours a day, or a lot of times even doing 2-a-days. You know? And I think it's crazy.
We see that a lot. We've actually had a couple of times we've had to put clients on like gym contracts that they can't go as much because they are just become obsessive over it.
Yeah. Because ultimately what it's doing, we oftentimes say switching of addictions, and I do believe that there are some addictions that are better than others, obviously the gym being one of them. But what we have to look at, and this goes in terms of any addiction, at the expense of what? So if somebody's going to the gym twice a day, well, what are you sacrificing to be able to do that? And maybe instead of going to the gym twice a day, go in the morning, and then the evening when you would go again to the gym, hit a meeting.
Yes.
Or go volunteer somewhere, or meet up with a sober buddy, read, or sit at your house and read, or even just go for a walk or something along those lines. But they'll get so hyper focused on an outward expression, an outward look, that it's at the expense of a lot of other things, and maybe not even the expense of, because you can't lose something that you don't have. But if I'm going to the gym twice a day, 4 hours a day in total, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, yeah, okay, you're gonna maybe get results quicker, but that you won't keep them. I'll tell you that, because your body adapts and everything else. But that's a whole other subject. But you could probably get the same exact results in a lesser amount, or maybe it might take a little bit more time, but you could also improve in these other areas. Maybe it's, you want to start some sort of business, or you want to improve on, you want to learn some sort of skill, or you want to do something. And that's what I encourage clients and people in general to do when getting clean and sober, is find things that kind of fuel you a little bit, rather than, I know the gym fuels me, so what the hell, I might as well just go there 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. Well, find something else that fuels you in conjunction with that, and do both. Maybe you're learning a new language, you're writing a book, you're, in my case, learning podcasts, learning YouTube. You could do whatever you want.
Absolutely. And I really stress balance. For me, it was writing. Me and my friend started a comic book. This is like early recovery, and that was so much fun. Going to a meeting, to meet up with my friend over coffee, and write this comic for a couple hours. And then I was actually starting to work out too. I did that remember P90X?
Yeah.
When that thing, I was doing that, and I was actually like, I was loving it.
Is that still around?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
But I was loving, I had nothing. At this point, I was living at home. I didn't have a car. But I would get rides to meetings, or my best friend would pick me up, and we'd go to meetings together. And he was a normie too, by the way. You know what I mean? And then we'd write, and I had such a fun time in early recovery. But I digress. But I kind of want to go back to what you were saying in terms of like working out addictively, and then kind of like the time it takes. This is where, because the addict mind is a crazy place to be. This is where we see a lot of people, then they don't get the results quick enough. That's when the steroids come in. Or even if they start seeing results, it's not good enough. I could do this, but I could do it more. I could look this way, but I could be this big, but I could even be bigger. You know what I mean? That's when and we fall into that trap. Then next thing you know, people are using steroids addictively,
Right.
And it's a whole freaking thing.
Yeah.
It becomes what started off as healthy becomes unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that happens all too often, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, Steve, I think that the nicotine is the biggest one that we see. The nicotine, hands down, is like, oh, I'm going to stop smoking, or I'm going to stop doing this. And it's like, we encourage you to not do that. Quit one thing at a time. If you're truly trying to get sober and stay sober, stop the alcohol, stop the drugs, and leave it at that. Don't try and take on too much at one time, because ultimately what you do is you burn out, and then you just give up on everything. And you
beat yourself up. I'm a loser. I can't do this. Fuck. Then, excuse my language, the F-its. If you will, of start taking place, and then becomes much easier to pick up. Have reasonable goals. That's why we say keep it simple.
Right.
Quitting everything at once and being like the ideal healthy person is not keeping it simple when you just got a detox.
Yeah.
Let's be reasonable with your goals,
That's always funny when you see somebody come into treatment and they're like, oh, I don't eat carbs, or I don't eat sugar, and no, I don't drink caffeine. And it's like, you were shooting heroin or shooting fentanyl a week ago. Now all of a sudden you don't want, like, that's fine, whatever, but.
It has glucose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, gluten.
Gluten, that's it. Gluten, excuse me.
Yeah. Gluten. Yeah. Oh, I have a gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
Like, do you?
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to bet you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you just been using drugs for so long and your intestines and stuff, you probably, you might have a lot of other things going on, but you probably don't have celiac disease.
Oh, no, opioids is very bad for the digestive system, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean.
Oh, yeah, maybe don't do that for a bit and see what happens.
Yeah. All right, well, that was fun, Steve. What are you doing for Christmas?
I'm just chilling.
Yeah?
Low key,
Didn't you, when you were using sometime around Christmas time when you flooded the hotel in New York?
Yes, in New York, say it to Marriott Marquis. I think, the statute of limitations is up, I'm sure. And so, well, they cleaned out. I don't remember what excuse. I don't think it matters. Anyways, yeah.
Tell the elevator version.
The elevator version is I went to New York with my family. I was in active addiction. I was withdrawing really bad. I really couldn't. I brought stuff to keep me, you know how you guys, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, this will keep me the rest of the whole week trip or whatever it was. And it said you do it all within an hour. You get to the hotel. So by day 2 or 3, I'm like withdrawing. My family, granted, they don't mind that. They don't know that I'm strung out. So they're like, oh, come explore the city with us. This is in a winter too, around Christmas time, New York City. They leave. I said, I'm not feeling good at all. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a bath. A warm bath will fix me up and I'll feel right.
Last time you told this story, you said, I'm going to draw a bath.
Yeah, I'm going to draw a bath. Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But anyways, go ahead.
So I drew a bath. And then I'm like, I'm going to lay down. And granted, guys, if you know what I'm talking about, sometimes you don't get the best night's sleep when you're withdrawing. So I'm like tired, And I drew the bath, and I'm like, I'm starting to feel sleepy. I'm like, I'm just going to rest the old eyelids for a minute while it fills up. I wake up. Yeah, okay, interesting. I wonder if it's ready yet. Let's see. Probably not. Maybe it is. I get off on the bed. I put my feet down on the carpet that's like a freaking swamp, like I just stepped into the Everglades, and I'm like, oh no. And I flooded the Marriott Marquis is a nice hotel. I flooded the hotel with my bath.
What ended up happening?
I think they came up and they like vacuumed. They like the industrial size vacuums that they have, and I think we might have switched rooms too.
Did they like make you pay for anything?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. But yeah, that was an awful trip. I haven't been back to New York since. I went to the hospital later because I was just feeling that bad. And
in that same trip.
The same trip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they gave me Dilaudid.
Oh, so you were like, oh, trip. Cool, good.
Yeah. Oh.
It's all worth it.
Yes. And just completely unmanageable, guys. Not the way you want to spend Christmas with your family, It's just really awful.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a Christmas fireside story.
Fireside chat.
Yeah.
Stevie Buckets flooding the Marriott Marquis at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.
Thank you.